Welcome to Keep the Faith Ministry News. Sitting behind his wooden desk inside his Burbank-based Suite 3H office back in 1961, Walt Elias Disney, the founder and chairman of the burgeoning company bearing his name, was asked if he could share the formula for the empire's wild success. Quote, "I don't really know," he said. "I guess I'm an optimist. I am not in the business to make unhappy pictures. I love comedy too much. I've always loved comedy. Another thing, maybe it's because I can still be amazed at the wonders of the world." Within 5 years, Walt Disney would be dead, never living to see the opening of the company's second park and resort in Orlando. At the time of his death in December of 1966, Walt's shoestring enterprise, born after a series of failures, was valued at $100 million. As of last year, the company's revenues exceeds $67 billion. But all that glitters is not gold. And the true health of a company is not only calculated in dollars, but how it helps or hurts the people it serves. On that score, few companies have fallen as far as the once wonderful world of Disney, which is anything but wonderful today. Footage of a leaked company-wide Zoom call confirms Disney's desire to embrace an agenda that deliberately and blatantly rejects a Christian worldview of the family as well as God's view of human sexuality. The meeting was held in response to the Florida legislature's passage and Governor Ron DeSantis' signing of HB 1557, a bill that prohibits state teachers from introducing or pushing LGBT topics on children in kindergarten through the 3rd grade. Critics of the legislation, along with willing accomplices in the press, have erroneously and deceptively and deceitfully labeled it as the, quote, "Don't Say Gay bill." In reality, it's common sense legislation that recognizes parents reserve the absolute right to decide when and what their children are to be taught about such sensitive issues. But Carrie Burke, president of Disney's General Entertainment Content, feels strongly that if children aren't going to be propagandized in school, they should be brainwashed and confused via Disney entertainment. Quote, "I'm here as a mother of 2 queer children. Actually," Burke told employees, "1 transgender child and 1 pansexual child, and also as a leader." Burke went on to say she is committed to Disney producing content that features underrepresented individuals. Quote, "We have many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters," she said. During another portion of the call, Disney's diversity and inclusion manager, Vivian Weir, bragged about discontinuing the use of the phrases "ladies and gentlemen" and "boys and girls" from announcements at their theme parks. Many of us have warm and cherished memories of watching Disney movies and cartoons, or maybe even taking a big family vacation to a Disney theme park. Sadly, that Disney is now long gone. The Disney brand was once so beloved and ubiquitous in the world that the name Mickey Mouse was used as the password for entrance into Allied Supreme Headquarters in Europe on D-Day in 1944. Quote, "Disneyland will never be completed as long as there is imagination left in the world," Walt Disney once said. Tragically, God's gift of imagination has been deeply corrupted in this case, bringing to mind the words and warning of the Apostle Paul to believers in Rome. Quote, "And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God," he wrote, "God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done." Romans 1:28. As parents, many of us appreciate entertainment for children that feature gentle and innocent themes. There will be enough time for our kids to be exposed to the harsh realities of a broken world. We don't need sinister or confused screenwriters corrupting the beautiful minds of our young ones. To be sure, Disney's slide has not been sudden, nor has it been all at once. For years, Christian parents have been faced with the dilemma of how or if to navigate the corrupt and collapsed culture of a one-time family-friendly brand. In the end, it might be a small world after all for all of us, but for believers especially, it's an increasingly wicked and depraved one. Quote, men put God out of their knowledge and worshiped the creatures of their own imagination, and as the result, they became more and more debased. The psalmist describes the effect produced upon the worshiper by the adoration of idols. He says, quote, they that make them are like unto them, so everyone that trusteth in them. Psalms 115, verse 8. It is a law of the human mind that by beholding we become changed. Man will rise no higher than his conceptions of truth, purity, and holiness. If the mind is never exalted above the level of humanity, if it is not uplifted by faith to contemplate infinite wisdom and love, the man will be constantly sinking lower and lower. The worshippers of false gods clothed their deities with human attributes and passions, and thus their standard of character was degraded to the likeness of sinful humanity. They were defiled in consequence. Quote, God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. God had given men his commandments as a rule of life, but his law was transgressed, and every conceivable sin was the result. The wickedness of men was open and daring. Justice was trampled in the dust, and the cries of the oppressed reached unto heaven. Patriarchs and Prophets, page 91. Quote, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Luke 17:26. This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. Thank you for watching.